Let's talk about selection and how you might select an area in your image. Your selection tools are over here. If you are working with straight lines, which in architecture you may be, you might want to work with the polygon lasso tool. That way you can, if you zoom in, select down an edge like this, and then click and turn a corner and go up and across and click together. Now, that may not be quite close enough for you. You'll end up with a little white spot there. If you need to add to that, you can hold the shift key down and you'll get a plus on your cursor. And then you can go in and continue to click and you can get a little bit more accurate in what you are doing. And add that to your prior selection. We can also get that little edge. There we go. So you can see how that got a little bit closer. Zoom in with your selections. It will make your life easier. That selection can then be used to create a layer mask, create an area of adjustment, copy and paste something in. You have all kinds of options. If you use that to delete something, right, like that, it's tough to get that back. So you may want to figure out how you can use these layer adjustments to best deal with that. So that's one selection tool. Another selection tool, magnetic lasso will do a similar thing. Command D will deselect. Your magnetic lasso tool, if you move slowly enough, it will go right along that edge and then click and move along the next edge. So this is another one that you could use. Oops, I went too fast. Bloop. And you can see where I didn't quite get all of it. Again, you can hold the option key wants to minus some of that. Will that add it in? Maybe. Oops. Some of these things hit the escape key to get out. You can always go down to, like, for example, let's say I wanted to fix that and I'm having trouble with my magnetic lasso tool. I can zoom in, go down to this masking option, and you can see like where's selected and where's not selected. You can adjust that with an eraser. Whoa. The left square bracket will make that smaller, useful. And you can erase the pink, right, which will add to the selection depending on how, whoops, a little too much. Get rid of the pink. Then if I'm like, oh yeah, oops, I overdid, I can go back to the paintbrush. Oops. Paintbrush, make that a little bit smaller, and then I can go in and like add that back in if I need to. If your paintbrush is too fuzzy, you can change your hardness here so you get a much crisper edge so that pink can be painted back in so that your selection area is very precise. Again, depends on how precise you feel you need to be and what your details are doing. So once that's selected, right, the white is the selected area, you can go back and click on that little like cutout circle thing. And now you have another selection area that's very precise, right? And you'll notice it's precise. It also went like around this little area. So you have to decide how much of that you want to fix. So those are two selection tools that you can use. Below that, you have the quick selection and the magic wand tool are also useful for what you're doing today. Let me deselect. Boop. Deselect. And let's go back to this. Your quick selection tool usually works pretty well. You have, if you click and hold a little bit, it will continue to add. If you just click once, it may not get all of the area. Right, let me zoom out a little bit. If I click once here, it's not too bad. It's going pretty much up to the lines. If you have some gray area, We can see here there's some additional like weirdness. It may or may not select exactly what you think you wanted. And this is where you can go back and edit later. If you need to keep this black line, then you need to go fix that selection area, as you can see. You can also, you can do the same thing with the Option key to like either minus or add, right? If you keep hitting the Option key, it will give you a couple of things. If you tap it and let up, it gives you the plus. If you tap it and hold down, it gives you the minus. So right now we want a minus. I need a much smaller brush, and I can hold the Option key down and deselect that gray area. And then I can go back and add that corner just like that. So again, this is another tool for refining your selection, and that's all under the quick selection tool. The other tool that we have here is the magic wand tool. Deselect that. The magic wand tool does a similar thing to the quick selection, but then you have to, if you hold the shift key down, it will add to that in that area if you're like, oh yes, and that gray and that color gray and all that. And then you can also edit the other way too. Now, this is a tolerance of 10. The tolerance of 32 that I think is the default gives you a slightly larger range that it will select with that. If it's too much, it starts to go in and get some of the black as well, which you don't want. So your tolerance here is what will contain the range of value that you're clicking on. Okay. The other thing to notice is that I have contiguous checked. If I uncheck that, right, before when I was clicking, it would just get inside each of these squares, which means the white is touching. If I click now, it's not contiguous. It's going to select all of the white throughout the entire image. Right? And you want more control than that for each section. If also you decided that what you wanted to do was, in that case, I selected the white. If you're instead interested in just the blacks, you can inverse that selection. And again, once you have a selection, you can copy and paste. And now I have, if I blink all of the rest of this, there we go. You can see that I have pasted back in just the black lines, right? Whoops. So those are some of the selection tools and ways you can work within the capacity of limiting what you see, where you see it, what's selected, that kind of thing. So enjoy selection, masking, edit quick mask. You're going to edit with the eraser, and you're going to edit with the brush when you're in quick mask mode. Okay? Enjoy.